Good morning, this is Beaty-Coffey of the Ministry of Uncovering No More Again. I thought I had uploaded the first two poems of a four-poem cluster by Elizabeth Barrett Browning, and I hadn't. That is because I was in a time of great war, and I am speaking in apocalyptic Armageddon terms. We actually got COVID in exactly 3 years after I'd had it the first time before it hit the media frenzy. It was in December of 2019, and that was a very hard time in my family's life. My mother passed away with so much betrayal intermixed within what happened with her. That's my mother, so it's going to affect the aura of my entire family until I can get it purified, literally purified. That it's just a process of mourning that I personally have to go through, and I don't know about everyone else in my family. I just keep lighting candles and incense and praying and hoping that we're going to be okay someday, really. So I actually mimicked a few people here, great people. I'm small, but Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, these authors, that a lot of times these men, movie making, all of that, a lot of times they will jump back from the initial. They'll tell the story behind the first story. And I just did that because I thought I had uploaded whatever I said about two poems of the four. A child's thought of God and a dead rose. I thought I had already uploaded the poems, and I actually had not. And I went through and deleted things in my phone log of photos last night to clean up, and I try to stay on top of that, and emails and all of that, so that I don't drown in editing work. So I need to read these two poems, and these were actually the first ones in the series, and you'll see that in the artwork that is in the blog article, which I'm about to post as soon as I get this done. So this began December 21st, 2022. It is very likely I had COVID. And by the time I was finished, I had to read these poems 3 to 4 times, these 4 poems, because of what I explained in the first video. I said an end in writing in the book 12/21/2022, and what I explained, I'll bring that to this one. What I explained is 12/21. Anytime you have numbers like that, 1-2 for the month, and then 2-1 for the actual day, you're looking on both sides of the mirror. You need to be careful with yourself, in my personal opinion. I'm very much a part of the moon and her seasons. And I share a pretty amazing testimony that's tiny. A lot of people see these beautiful breakthroughs, but this is about my family, so of course I'm encouraged, I'm nurtured because of what happened. And I was reading what I thought was the second two poems, A Woman's Shortcomings and a Man's Requirement. So now I need to be mentored by a good many people who bring the beautiful movies, the big screen to us, because a lot of times they will do this. They will release the middle of the story, or even the middle to end, and not provide the details of how it got to that place until another set of movies. But I'm just Kara, and yet I can tell you I had to address spiritualists like myself in the last video, and that means my voice changed. I'm just Kara now, and I'm very tired, actually, even though it's morning. So I will be careful and do some deep breathing exercises and whatnot for the rest of the day and go slow. So this is what is before in Elizabeth Barrett Browning's perspective. A child's thought of God. They say that God lives very high, but if you look above the pines, you cannot see our God. And why? And if you dig down in the mines, you never see him in the gold, though from him all that's glory shines. I'm going to stop there for a moment because I met a beautiful person of my life in the past, my old house and everything, at Walmart, the Walmart that I went to the most, raising so many children and nurturing everybody in house church the best I could, and also falling apart because I had a very hard time connecting to churches, and it should be obvious to anybody why this sorceress dealt with that for 20 to 30 years of my life. So why I stopped is because of what I told the dear woman, that we love each other very much and we're raising families, and we recognize that because of our society, we're going to probably, after we raise our families, we're going to have to go back to work to help our families financially. So if anybody has any question as to what the Republican Party is doing right now, there's no question in my mind that they're criminals. They're not nurturing the real people who actually raise their family. They're putting pressure on single income family men who have been around for generations to make more and more money because the way they're handling the federal government's business. Churches are doing the same thing. You're working the beautiful people to the bone. And what I told her was, because we were talking about God the Father, and God the Father figures are getting a little tired of not understanding how they wouldn't even be there without the womb of their counterpart, God the Mother. And Christianity, by and large, is way, way too misogynistic. And it is hurting my men who do understand that they cannot accomplish anything without basically me and my friend at Walmart. My friend at Walmart is dresses only like I used to be. But she accepts me and loves me, and even accepted my testimony about the return of the King. That's how far forward I am that I am. So I'm going to start this poem again because it isn't just God the Father, and I'm going to ask him for all of creation that is supposedly human in 2023 to forgive us their sin of completely cutting out God the Mother, thereby leaving an unnatural burden upon actual God the Father figures. Federal government, I will speak to you in the name of the King of Kings. You either start nurturing us, and I am not just talking about the glory days of, give tax credits to the, for each child so that they can have helps. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about universal health care. I'm talking about shoring up Social Security and Medicare, because I have worked myself to the bone, and so has my friend, and we keep doing that, and we have beautiful spirits, and we have beautiful testimonies, and we're so busy nurturing your population, there's no way in hell, literally, that we can work right now to make ends meet. But we're going to put ourselves back in the workforce as demoralizing as that is, because we're queens of endurance and beauty and courage, as demoralizing as that is, we're going to go back in the workforce to shore up our family who are suffering with an unnaturally expensive society. Go read the book of Revelation. Get a fucking grip, federal government. And throw the fucking criminals in jail. Do you have any questions? This shit is so real. It's so obvious. I went over into the ugly side of me. Now let's go back to the nice me. Let's go back to the nice me. Here, I tell you what. Here's to Dosh. And my candle. I had to stop my incense because of cedar fever. I can only do so much of that, and it's not very much. A child's thought of God. They say that God lives very high, but if you look above the pines, you cannot see our God. God, and why? And if you dig down in the mines, you never see him, her in the cold. Oh yeah, I deal with pronouns. Yeah, I do. Though from him, her, all that's glory shines. God, is so good. He, she wears a fold of heaven and earth across their face, like secrets kept for love untold. But still I feel that his, her embrace slides down by thrills through all things made, through sight and sound of every place, as if, you see, Elizabeth knew and knows, and she's here with me today with my Kiki. As if my tender mother laid on my shut lips her kisses pressure, half waking me at night and said, who kissed you through the dark, dear guesser? A dead rose. Oh, rose, how dares to name thee? No longer roseate now, nor soft nor sweet, but pale and hard and dry as stubble wheat, kept 7 years in a drawer. Thy titles shame me. That's me, all right. The breeze that used to blow thee between the hedgerow thorns and take away an odor by the lane to last all day, if breathing now unsweetened would forgo thee. The sun that used to smite thee and mix his glory in the gorgeous urn, till beam appeared to bloom and flower to burn, if shining now with not a hue would light thee. The dew that used to wet thee, and white first, grow incarnadined because it's a pinkish red rose. It lay upon thee where the crimson was, if dropping now would darken where it met thee. The fly that lit upon thee to stretch the tendrils of its tiny feet along thy leaf's pure edges after heat, if lightning now would coldly overrun thee. The bee that once did suck thee and build the perfume ambers up his hive and swoon in thee for joy till scarce alive, if passing now would blindly overlook thee. The heart doth recognize thee. Alone, alone, the heart doth smell thee sweet, doth view thee fair, doth judge thee most complete, perceiving all those changes that disguise thee. Perceiving, my loves. Yes, and the heart doth owe thee more love, dead rose, than to any roses bold, which Julia wears at dance, smiling cold. Lie still upon this heart, which breaks below thee. I'm going to close with the concept of paganism that you don't deserve, America. Federal government don't deserve this. Y'all are just so lost. Sick of me. These are my sunflowers, some of them. I have some in vases from the last season. I'm looking so forward to, let me keep this on the floor, then I begin to make something for breakfast. Let me close with this today. Finish out my poetic work for this week in my office. This is not in my other place. peeling. So that's going to go somewhere else. Flowers and a few vegetables. But I'm changing the bed in front of my window in my office. And these will go, hopefully, these will go in front. And then look at these beautiful things that's going to go to the back. Excuse me. That's my dad's blankie that he had on the wall. And my painting, I'm not finished, but I kept looking at these. So I needed to paint. It helps with some painful things going on right now. Do you see these? Because last year, for the first time ever, I planted them, and I actually was privileged with birds in my window perching in the beautiful flowers. That tends to be these biggies. So there you go.